significant winter weather can become deadly, known as the deceptive killer. Oftentimes during significant winter storms, indirect fatalities through traffic accidents and in some cases hypothermia do cause us problems each year. Because of that, the National Weather Service urges you to prepare before the storm strikes. Keep yourself and your family safe this winter season. Through the Midwest, we experience a wide variety of dangerous winter weather, ranging from heavy snow to ice accumulation to sometimes blizzards, with occasional bouts of extreme cold and even flooding. That can lead to a wide variety of impact, from simple things like school closings and delays to treacherous if not impassable travel conditions, and in some cases infrastructure can be damaged, leaving people isolated or without power for a matter of days. As a way to keep people informed of the potential hazards moving into the area, the National Weather Service uses a tiered approach of what we call headlines, starting with the outlook, which could give the initial heads up of potential winter weather anywhere from 1 to 7 days in advance. When a watch is issued, that typically means conditions are favorable for a significant winter event, but it still may not happen in your community. Advisories are usually issued when the weather is expected to occur, but if caution is exercised, it should not become a life-threatening event. And the highest danger utilized in the winter months is the warning, when that weather event is expected to occur and, of course, could become life-threatening. Now, another way to look at this is to take the overall confidence in the forecast by looking at when the winter weather is discussed in the outlook, perhaps only a 30% confidence factor. When there is about a 50% or higher chance of a storm to move into the area, that's usually the level for a watch. And the advisory and warnings are a much higher confidence, almost imminent type of phenomenon, when the weather is almost undoubtedly going to occur. Remember though, advisories are usually issued for when things can be just addressed through a little additional caution. Warnings, on the other hand, mean a life-threatening type of event. Now, watches, again the most common type of winter weather headline that we issue, can be put out there for potential heavy snow or in some cases ice storms. There could be some variance in where the storm is tracking or when the storm might impact the area. Of course, the highest level watch would be the blizzard watch, when potential blizzard conditions are expected in the upper Midwest. Advisories are typically issued for things like 3 to 5 inches of snow, maybe times of mixed precipitation, or a combination of sleet, perhaps blowing snow, in addition to other types of precipitation falling. Freezing rain advisories are issued for thinner coats of ice, perhaps under a 1/4 inch, or those times when we had freezing drizzle in the area. And let's not forget dense fog. Dense fog is one of the leading fatality producers in the upper Midwest. Those advisories are typically issued when visibilities are expected to be a 1/4 mile or less, covering a widespread area. Remember that warnings are the highest danger when the life-threatening conditions are expected to develop. Blizzard warnings are typically issued when snow and blowing snow could drop visibilities to under a 1/4 mile with strong winds. The common winter storm warning is typically issued for heavy snow or bouts of a mixture of precipitation with even some blowing snow in the area. And ice storm warnings typically issued when we're expecting about a 1/4 inch of ice or greater. Certainly ice storm warnings and blizzard warnings usually have the biggest impact on the area. Now, graphically, watches and warnings can often be displayed like this, where you have a combination of such headlines depending on when and where the storm is tracking. The television media may present it in this fashion, again with a variety of colors depicting the areas that are under watches or warnings. This can be very useful when planning your travel. Wind chill values during bouts of extreme cold range from the wind chill advisory, when wind chills of -20 to as low as -34 expected, and that could lead to frostbite in exposed surfaces of 30 minutes or less. Wind chill warnings, on the other hand, are when wind chills are expected to be at 35 degrees below zero or colder, and those type of conditions can cause frostbite in as little as 10 minutes. Overall, When we talk about preparedness, checking ahead is usually one of the best things. If you have travel planned, check ahead, check road conditions, and in some cases, consider changing your travel route or times. The map here shows an example of a travel route, let's say from Lacrosse, Wisconsin to the Twin Cities. Taking a route across southern Minnesota on one particular winter storm could lead you into the most dangerous type of the storm, whereas taking a route further to the north and then west could route you around the worst expected conditions. When traveling, it's of course important to remember to pack a survival kit, bring enough clothing and boots, things like that, to dress for the worst case scenario, and in all cases winterize your vehicle before we go into the season. Around the house, some things to keep in mind of might be battery-powered backup radios, extra food and water, and don't forget those extra prescription medicines or baby items in case you do become stranded for several days. Things like heating fuel and emergency heating sources are important, but don't forget about the carbon monoxide threats. And let's not forget the pets and our farm animals during the worst of the winter weather. Now, staying ahead of all weather is a good rule of thumb, but having a good source of weather information, whether it be from the National Weather Service or any other trusted source, is a good idea. Watch for updates, and this day and age we urge you to take advantage of technology. Things like smartphones and tablets and more portable devices are becoming more common these days, and to have that information available to you nearly 24 hours a day is a big advantage. NOAA Weather Radio does provide continuous broadcasts of not only severe storms in the summertime but also winter weather, including current conditions, wind chills, and the latest forecasts and watches and warnings. Transmitters for NOAA Weather Radio are around the area and of course around the entire United States, if at home or in travel. The National Weather Service also has a variety of web pages at weather.gov. The National Weather Service at Lacrosse can be found at weather.gov/lacrosse. On our web pages, you'll typically find information on those watches and warnings, and even the outlooks, perhaps ways to look at radar imagery or track river flooding. And past, current, and climate information is also available to be able to browse previous events. Typical front web page map might show a combination of our warnings, advisories, and watches, so you can quickly see where those headlines are in place. We often have graphical forecasts depicting our expected forecasts or range of snowfall during the winter storms. These are typically found by looking at our top news story of the day, which we keep updated quite often as winter weather is expected to move into the area. Of course, you can go back and look at past cases as well, find out where the heaviest snow fell or who was impacted the most in our storm summary section. The National Weather Service is also becoming more involved with social media, whether it be on our Facebook pages or our Twitter accounts. We urge you to like or follow us, and on Twitter you can always use the hashtag #NWSARX to send in your local snow amount. Once again, the National Weather Service urges you to be prepared this winter season. Always check ahead, have an action plan, and stay warm.